Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys. And today I'm definitely gonna show you guys another article from Jalopnik, and it's talking about the top fads that need to die in the car community. Pretty much the things that need to change. And I wanted to bring this article up because I want to get you guys' perspective. So comment below when I drop the video and everything like that. But I'm gonna honestly give you guys some context and my honest personal feelings about if they're right or wrong. So guys, you already know what to do. Hit that intro. Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you. So welcome back, everybody. So please, if you are subscribed to the channel, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. You guys know I'm trying something new and something different. The car is still here. The cars are still here. I'm still gonna bring out installs, and we're gonna get that way with the car. But let's just see if we can support Boost on his new endeavors and trying something a little new. So I really would appreciate it. But anyways, let's jump into the article. So here are the automotive fads that need to die. And it's funny that they show the two M3s with the ugly grills, right? So let's start the slideshow. Let's hop into it. The first one they said is low profile tires, right? And let's see if we can read a little bit of this. Ultra low aspect ratio tires and huge rims. You guys said rims. Oh my God. On about everything nowadays. And I call them wagon wheels. They said, and if someone wants to whine that you give up handling due to more sidewall flex, I say F1 cars have fat tires and handling, which I agree with them, right? But here's my first contention I have here, right? If you're an automotive person, you know that bigger wheels look better. 19s on a Prius look better than 15s on a Prius. It's just a thing. If it's a nicely designed wheel. And usually when you go with bigger wheels, you have to go with thinner sidewall tires because you can't keep that same aspect ratio if from a 20-inch or from a 15-inch to a 20-inch. It's just not possible. So you have to go with low profile tires. So this is something that is appealing to the consumers. The consumers like that. You know what car was a car that really showed me it? I would say the Jeep Grand Cherokee. If you get the regular 18-inch wheels, it didn't look as good. They were fatter, but they weren't. It didn't look as good. But when you got the 20-inch wheels, it looked a lot better. Another car, the Ford Flex. You can get the 18s or the 17s, and they had a 20-inch option, which looks so much more better. But you have to go with a smaller sidewall. But this is what I would also add into this. You know what would make it even better, guys? Right? I believe that sometimes they do put tires that are too thin on the sidewall. I'll use the Infiniti for existence, Infiniti Q50, Q60. I believe they could went with a 255/40 tire or even a 265 and still got the same handling, probably better handling and better ride comfort. They didn't need to go with such a thinner 245/40 tire because usually total sidewall is usually better for the cushion. It's just honestly a thing. And other cars, what is another car I remember? It was like a Mazda 6 or Mazda 3. It was a 17-inch wheel, and it came with a 215/45 17-inch tire. That is too small. A 215 on a 45 aspect ratio is super thin, and the car is like 3,700 pounds. So I remember when I used to work for BJ's Wholesale Club, this car used to come back often because the tires blew out. And it blew out not because, oh, it hit a pothole, this crappy roads. It blew out because the sidewall was just too thin. Also, the load index was actually pretty low on the tire too. So that's another thing that attributes to that, right? But let's move forward. That's my first contention. I don't think we need to change that. I think they can go slightly up on the sidewall aspect ratio, but it doesn't have to be a drastic change. They're saying raked rear ends. Are they talking about the slope? Ultra rake rear windshields on SUVs. Okay. The function of the trunk is completely lost, which makes the larger footprint a waste. I get the design choice, but functionality is terrible. All right. This is that slope coupe look that we're talking about here. This part right here. We honestly love that. When they used to, the reason why they added the slope to these crossovers, SUVs, and wagons is because when you just have it go straight to the back and a harsh fall off, it made the car look funny. It didn't make it as attractive. Think about some of the older Mercedes that were wagons. But then once they started changing up and giving it the slope to the back, it didn't look as bad anymore. It looked a lot better. They moved away from the traditional wagon look and made it more modern. I don't think this is something that they should get rid of necessarily. I don't think we should add a swing back and straight down on your Audi or whatever SUV, a CUV or SUV. Keep it this way, and I think it's something that's still beneficial for the community. All right, screen rants. What is this? Replacing buttons with touch screens, especially HVAC controls. What you used to be able to do by filling a button now requires you to go through multiple menus. And this is where I freaking agree. On the Q50 compared to the G37, I love knobs and buttons. Knobs and buttons work because if you get in the car and if you get out your car and you have the heat set too hot and it's cold, when you get back in the car, it's set too hot. All your settings and everything is the way it is. But with these newer cars and their touchscreens, you have to touchscreen to turn up controllers. Everything resets. You have to do the same procedure every single time. The same thing I would even add is I don't want to there's a touchscreen thing, but sometimes some cars you have to go through the menu to turn off the auto or the auto start. Whenever I mean the auto on and off whenever you pull up to a stoplight and the car shuts off and it shuts on, that I hate that. I hate that it does that. And sometimes some cars you have to go through the menus just to get to this stuff. So it makes a fluid thing as you touch a knob and turn it. Now that you have to go through two menus and press on the screen like this just to turning up or down. I really completely agree with this, and they need to get rid of that. They need to integrate, give us a newer age stuff, but return the buttons and the knobs back. They can do it. They can make it happen. So I would agree. Guys, also hit the like button if you made it to this part. I really appreciate it. This is my little rant, boost emotion rant too. All right. This one says gear. I can't pronounce that word. Shiktik or shekt. I mispronounced the word. Let me see. Reimagine shifters. What we don't want a dial. We don't I'm sorry, my eyes are a little bit bad. We don't something wait, what? We don't something shape. I guess they didn't write it right. We don't something shaped like a computer mouse that doesn't come in each position. Just gives us a lever and locks clearly into each position we we know 100% the car is safely in our out of gear, and that's we're grabbing a shifter. Okay, this just threw me off whatever they wrote. All right, here's my contention with this. Um, I actually agree with this. When I get into cars that have no shifter and buttons, it is weird because it took away the physical control of me just being more interactive with the car, even though it's an auto. Now I know we move in this day and age where we have electric parking brakes and we could just do more everything more electric, right? At some point, if that fails, right? That fails, right? I know that with the manual shifter on a automatic, I can still put the car in reverse, drive, or whatever. But when you add in this, it's still just I know it's still an electrical thing. It just takes away the physical control. Maybe I'm just still an older dude, but maybe the newer dudes are just okay with this. Honestly, I still would like a gear stick or something like that. The electronic stuff still throws me off, but I'll leave it at that. All right, let's move forward. Stupid grills. Massive plastic grills that look like Darth Vader's face mask. So many good cars ruined by stupid fad. Started by Audi, I would say, when they removed the horizontal bumper piece that separated the upper and lower grills. Modern cars do not need huge air intakes like old-fashioned cars did. I think the ugliest has to be when they slapped that thing on the Urus and made it look like a catfish. And you know what? I would agree. But at the end of the day, I think it's just an honest transfer, or no, I would say transition into something else. Some of these cars that are more high performance do need more airy grills for that air to actually move through the engine bay. Other cars don't necessarily need it. I think it's something that's more profound to say, yeah, we have the biggest grill or chrome or whatever at the front of it. We're doing the best. Mercedes, BMW, and in this case, Lexus. It was just their way of changing it up. But I'm so much used to it now that it really doesn't really stand out and really offend me that much nowadays. I think it's just honestly, if it flows with the car, then I get it. I'm looking at this Lexus, and when you look at it, because they talk about the grills, you're like, yeah, it does stick out, but the car still looks good. So it's not a huge rant for me. This one, I understand it. I'm a centrist on that one. Next one, life of luxury. Okay, what does that exactly mean? The idea of luxury equals tech. Okay, most and not all luxury cars now are just sports sedans with leather seats and a bunch of gimmick tech, more focused on massage seats and lap times than refinement. I'm not that old, but I miss when luxury meant top tier build quality, comfort, and isolation. 90s S class and early Lexus LSs. And you know what? I agree with this one because I'm in my 30s, right? I got to see the big change. A lot of you guys are younger sometimes. There was a big change at one point. We didn't have all this extra stuff in cars. And even in the cars I have right now, my Q60, I don't need lane departure and cruise control and all this other nonsense. I don't care for it. It's a nice gimmick. I appreciate it. It is an assistance, but I don't need it. If you would have just gave me Bose and navigation, Google Maps, decent stuff, and that's it. I don't need anything else. I don't need Facebook or any of that stuff. I don't need my phone to be completely integrated into the center console. Give me heated seats. Definitely give me cool seats. I don't need massaging, but massaging seats are actually quite nice and comfortable. But I don't need this stuff. But other people love this stuff because it's part of the luxury and it comes with the brand. So it's still part of the flex. So what I'm gonna sit there and say is the auto brands, they control their market and they can push it wherever they want. If they want to have a fish tank in the back of the car, their car comes with a fish tank and the other one doesn't. So at the end of the day, they set the precedence and people are willing to pay for this luxury or difference. So at the end of the day, am I a fan of all the tech? No, not really. But do I understand why these companies are doing it? Yes. And as long as there's a buyer that's willing to put the money out to put the money out for it, it would always be in demand. Period. Let's move on. So, guys, you made it to this part of the video. We're almost at the finish line. So, I would really appreciate if you hit that like button. Okay. So, matte black everything. Finally, an opportunity to complain about black wheels and blacked out trims. In my opinion, painted wheels black hide some of the nice wheel designs and often has an opposite effect on making your car look like it has a cheap steelies, whatever. When the car is in motion, it looks like something just deleted the wheels. You paid extra for those nice wheels. Let's see them. Black trim packages often look tacky and poorly executed. Let's paint them trim pieces black and call it a day with no regard to the other styling elements. You know what? I agree with this one to a certain extent. Once again, I'm gonna be a centrist on this. Piano black is terrible. It's a cheap thing. If you get in the car and you see piano black, you know that they're being cheap. That's just honestly it. But there's some cars that do chrome deletes, so they have blacked out trim around the windows, blacked out grill. Some stuff like that changes the attitude on cars, and I think that's perfectly fine. But now cars are actually coming from factory matte black, or you can get these dark matte colors on your car. And once again, the I respect the automakers for giving us this option because majority of people would get the regular car and then they would wrap it in a matte black or they would paint it this color. So they just gave us an option. So honestly, I think this person's really blowing up blacked out trims or blacked out packages. Honestly, they gave us more options. It's not like it's the only option. You want to get a red Q50? Yes. If they had a matte Q50 that you would get, there's an option for that too if it ever was a thing, but that would be pretty dope. So no, I actually disagree with it. We can keep the blacked out trim packages. All right, crossovers. Bang, bang, bang. This one is very important to me, right? Pointless crossovers like the CX300 and the HRV and the Q3, who have barely more room, more trunk space than a hatchback, but comes in with an added weight, worse fuel economy, and handling and higher price tag. I think the worst example of this category must be the thing on the wheels called the Econobox, whatever. Econobox. Meanwhile, we cannot get a Focus anymore. You know what? I agree with this one. Reason being is my boy, shout out to my boy Winner, right? So here's the thing about BMW, right? They have an X1, an X3, X4, X5, and X7, right? And I understand they're trying to make something for every price point, but at some point, no, it needs to stop. A next one doesn't need to exist. But it's just a nicer way of saying, okay, you don't want to be in a 1 series or whatever because it's a little too low. We're just gonna make it a small little truck so that you feel more safe. It's really just there for that price people who just really want a cute little truck rather and with ground clearance rather than getting the car version. So I understand why it exists, but honestly, I dislike it and I don't like it either. I think some of them are really useless and wasting a lot of time. Think about an Infinity. Infinity has QX50. No, first thing they had a QX30, which was the Mercedes version, right? Then they have a QX50, right? Then they have a QX55, which is pretty much the sport version of the QX50, and now you have a QX60. You don't need some of these cars. It's unnecessary. You don't need to have a QX50. You could just have the QX55 and the QX60. But what's the point of having the QX50? Why? Why? Because the QX55 is a more sportier version. You see why it's useless? Give people less options and they'll make better decisions. When you give people a lot of options, they can't choose it. There's an experiment where if you gave people, I think it was an ice cream experience. If you give people 30 different choices of ice cream, it's hard for them to choose. But if you gave them 5 choices, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, rum raisin, and pecan, whatever, right? They'll choose. But if they had 20 choices, it's a lot harder. And that's what the community has, what the automakers have created. People can't really choose it, and they made a bunch of useless cars. All right, we're almost there. Crap colors. You know what? I don't like green and I don't like beige colors. It's a waste of time. I don't know if dye is the right word, but I like to see more paint colors that white more ugh. I like to see more paint colors than white, silver, gold slash tan, gray, dark gray, black, and blue and red. And any other colors seem to be either off the table or unavailable within X amount of mile radius. And I agree with that one because they realize that when you go get these different colors, different cars, majority of people don't really buy it. The automakers have sat there and they tried and dibble and dabble this in the last 20, 30 years. And people like the more vibrant cars, I mean colors, but those are usually on more high-end cars or special edition cars because people are paying for something that has more of a soul. But for the everyday person that just wants to get an economy car to go from point A to point B, they don't really care for it to be bright engine red. They don't care. They're gonna be like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get the black car, or the white one, or the gray one." They don't really care for it. So I understand that as a car person, we would want more colors. But if we just want a daily driver, we don't really care about that. We want it to be simple, easy, and we don't need the complex colors. Honestly. All right, we almost hit to the end. The black plastic cladding. Okay, I see the car that they put it on. Unpainted plastic wheels will surrounds, and they look cheap. They catch dirt, and it starts to invade the standard cars. Okay, so prolific now that I didn't have to do more than search for every 2020 SUV. All right, I would agree with this. A lot of cars right now, I see they're adding more plastics that are unpainted. I guess because it makes it cheaper cost of production. So that makes sense. If it's a cheaper cost of production, it makes sense from a business point of view. But they're putting on cars that are not even rugged. Like I remember the Subarus have some of these matte plastic fenders on it. And I get it because these cars are more off-road and they understand that when rocks in this material hit some of these areas, guess what happens? It starts to rust up and mess up the paint and it rots out, right? But they're putting on cars that are never going to see off-road, that are daily drivers in regular daily traffic. It's like putting rubber plastics on Camrys. What are we doing here? It doesn't make any sense. So I agree with this one. They're just trying to bring down the cost of the car, but it's coming at the cost of the car looking cheaper, honestly. And that is it. That is it. We made it to the end. Let's stop screen sharing that one. So tell me what you think. Comment below. Is there anything that you think they might have missed that they should get rid of in the automotive community? So just type that below. And in my honest opinion, what do I think that they might have honestly have missed about what they should actually remove from the car market? And to be quite honest with you, I think that they should, oh my God, I think that they should stop trying to focus on just making only electric cars. It's just my honest opinion. I think they should really focus on making hybrid vehicles for the time being and making more, still, once again, making cars hybrid and fuel efficient. Now, they were doing that at one point about 10 years ago, but now it seems like there's a increased drive for making electric cars, but I just don't think there's an infrastructure in place for it. I don't think it's something that they should just try to drive and force us to do and get. It just, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Um, because yes, if you live in a single family home, and you live in more of the country area, yes, I could see why electric car could work. But usually, with places where people live as close, they have to drive larger miles. So that's where they come with the trade off with electric power and versus miles per gallon, right? But people who live in the cities, we don't have access to these superchargers and stuff because there's millions of people in some of these inner cities. So electric car really wouldn't benefit us, even though it's a shorter distance. It's still not enough. The infrastructure isn't large enough for the capacity of all these electric cars. So I think they should really look into doing hybrid vehicles so that we could get more miles per gallon, where the car can recharge itself from the gasoline powered engine, which is more of like a parallel hybrid. And I think that would be a good branch on us moving forward into electrified future, in my honest opinion. Honestly. Outside of that, another one was speaking about electric cars do not have to be ugly. I believe a lot of these electric cars are designed to be aerodynamic and have a low drag coefficient, right? But that doesn't translate to good looking. Honestly, if they sold us cars that look like the cars we already like, for instance, a Q50 or a wide body Hellcat, and just make them hybrid or full electric cars, just keep how the car look and add the electric motors. We'll be perfectly fine with it. You don't have to change up all these weird angles because just because the drag coefficient is low doesn't mean it's a good looking car. So something like what the BMW M50 did, it's a full electric 4 Series. It literally looks just like the 4 Series, but it's full electric. It does not have to be ugly. These cars do not have to be ugly. The Porsche Taycan or whatever it's called, the rear end looks just like a Porsche. The side looks like a Porsche, but they designed the front end for it to have a low drag coefficient. So it looks fugly. It looks weird at the front end. It doesn't look like the rest of the Porsche lineup. And I think that's where they messed up at. The Audi version looks a lot better, but it is what it is. So in my honest opinion, I think I'm going to end it pretty much there. Nothing else popped in my mind on certain car facts or certain things that I think they should just get rid of, honestly. But outside of that, guys, you already know what to do. Hit me up at boostinmotion IG, Facebook, and boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, you have good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for your time. Thank you. You have a good day. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Do appreciate you guys. Love you guys very much. You can also check out the 2 links I posted for some of my other videos. Also, on top of that, if you want to purchase some Boost in Motion merch, definitely check the link that I posted also. And finally, if you've been watching all my videos and you enjoy them, please hit the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.